I hope we're all nice and sleepy after lunch. I know I am. So I'm going to talk to you about this series of maps that I've been putting together for about, I started probably about a year ago, year and a half. A series so far of about 40 or so maps based on old gas station maps, which kind of fits in with, I was kind of delighted to see, fits in with our speaker from Wednesday, Peng Shepard. So standard sort of background when I was a kid sort of thing. I think most of us have this sort of background where when we were kids, we loved these old gas station maps and we would trace our routes, we would imagine our adventures, we would go back and relive whatever adventure we had. I lived in Northern California, I lived in Nevada and Arizona, all these spaces with these long highways, big open spaces, and a lot of just tracing to do on the maps that my parents would get for free at the gas stations. I think this is sort of a lost thing in our culture, very ephemeral. I think that they don't really do it anymore. Gen Z may not be quite as familiar with this whole culture surrounding these old gas station maps, but it was kind of a big thing in its time. Another piece of background is some of my inspirations for sea level rise maps that I make. The first one was Ursula K. Le Guin, and she did this book, Always Coming Home, which was set in California's Central Valley, and it's sort of an anthropological future study of this culture. Fascinating. She didn't make a map. A friend of hers made this map of the Central Valley showing the important sites of this culture. And you can kind of see if you're familiar with the geography of California, you can see the Central Sea there where the sea level rise has happened. And it's a lovely little map. Then back in 2013, National Geographic did this big article on sea level rise. And also in 2013, I think inspired by National Geographic, this guy in San Francisco who goes by the name of Burrito Justice did a map of San Francisco and put all sorts of new clever place names on it. And I thought, oh, I could do that. That sounds really cool. I want to do that for Seattle because I lived in Seattle and I still do. One quick thing here. These are based on 66 meters of sea level rise. This is a table from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This is from a 2013 document that estimates 66 meters of sea level rise if like every ice cube in the world were to melt and go into the ocean. And so I started making some sea level rise maps, kind of inspired by what Burrito Justice had done in San Francisco. I did this one for Seattle, also with clever place names. I did a couple of dozen of these, including this one of Portland. And Ursula K. Le Guin at the time lived in Portland, and that's where she lived the last years of her life. And I sent her this poster and a note telling her how she had inspired me in my cartographic career. And then maybe a couple months later, I got a reply from her saying, and she described her process with her friend George to create the map that went into the novel Always Coming Home. And so this fits in with my current talk, but this is also kind of a stub because I'm going to expand on this. The highlighted the highlighted paragraph here is maybe really interesting for the world builders out there, just her process of doing this. And next year, I'm going to expand on this. In addition to the ones that I just showed you, I started doing these Retrofuture maps inspired. And I have to do a call out here because I don't know who first started this. Using the Blender terrain maps, putting them on vintage maps. One of you, I think, here did that. And I don't know who, but thank you very much for inspiring me to do that with my own sea level rise maps. So I did a few of those, and this one is Napa, the Napa Valley, which kind of fits in with Ursula Le Guin's thing. The LA Basin. Here is Memphis, Tennessee. And then I did some much older ones, like in Europe. This one, obviously, is Italy. But while I was researching those, I stumbled across, going through the Rumsey Map Center's archives, I stumbled upon these old gas station maps, and I was just like, oh, yeah, I remember those from when I was a kid. And wouldn't it be cool, wouldn't it be ironic to do something like this? And it was just sort of a thought in my mind. I didn't pursue it right away. I sat on it for about a year. And then, so what I really was thinking, I want to associate the sea level rise with these companies and the way that they've branded all of these highway maps. So anyway, I sat on it for a year or so. I wasn't really sure if I should do it because I was concerned about copyright and those sorts of issues. Then one day, this friend of mine, I've known him for 30 years, and I hope he never sees this slide. Mark, he lives in London. He's a successful photographer, does some really good work. He posted on social media a picture of himself on a bicycle with his photo equipment, along with this text, where he's talking about working with Shell Oil, doing photos of their executive team, and how he has been carbon neutral for so long. We all have to make a living. I get that, but the greenwashing in his text here just really set me off. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that idea that I've had for a while. So I did, and this isn't my first one, but it kind of encompasses a lot of what the more detailed maps that were to come. So 66 meters of sea level rise. On top of a 1956 highway map of the United States that was branded as Shell Oil. And I put my own branding in there, and I put a new title and reworked all of that. But is this even legal? I mean, someone else has the copyright to this, and it's not in the public domain. So from what I've been able to discover, now I didn't know how to pronounce this name, and Peng Shepard pronounced it Goucher. I've been pronouncing it Goucher, maybe it's Goucher, I don't know. Anyway, Goucher, thank you. So branded as these petrochemical companies, Goucher was acquired by Rand McNally in the 1990s, and generally speaking, copyright lasts 95 years. And so this is definitely not in the public domain. And as far as I can tell, the copyright is held by Rand McNally. So I started doing some research on this, and before I really got serious, I talked to an IP attorney. As I was putting this presentation together, I thought, I got to talk about copyright because that's kind of interesting and important. But obviously, Rand McNally, if they're the ones who hold it, they hold that copyright. But there are exceptions. You can get around that in certain ways. And that are the works of parody. Excuse me. Transformative works and editorial works. This is sort of from my sketchy notes from, okay, I'm running out of time, so I'll speed it up. So anyway, parody takes a specific work and uses the convention it's known for to poke fun at that work. So it kind of turns the work against itself. And some examples here. This is the poem that spawned 1,000 parodies, and here's one of them. This may have been one of the first that I saw. So this is a parody because it's mimicking the tone and structure of this poem. Some other like parodists, these are some other examples of parody where you take a work and you make a you parody the work. I mean, to do a circular logic thing there. Satire is different. Satire is more general and is not really targeted specifically at any individual or object. And some examples of satire, some of my favorites, are some of these movies. We have Dr. Strangelove, Catch-22, and more recently, God, what is it called? Get Out, thank you. And I want to slip this in there because I tend to like to punch up. I'd rather not punch down. I think that's the humane thing to do. Anyway, so a derivative as opposed to transformative is it presents an original work in a new way, like a translation or a movie from a book or something like that. Transformative actually creates new meaning from an existing work. Transformative works have more protections and can be copyrighted. Fair use, so criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright. And here's some details, and I'm going to speed past that. In my conversation with the IP attorney, she noticed one thing that I had done with my logo alongside the corporate logo, and she said, ooh, that's good. That makes it an editorial. And so I've always then tried to include my own logo next to the Petro company logos. So, in my defense, it's transformative, it's parody, and it's editorial. So who has the copyright ultimately? Rand McNally holds the copyright to this, and I hold the copyright to this. This is San Francisco, if you don't recognize it, with 66 meters of sea level rise. So having gotten that out of the way, we'll see some examples. Oh, one last thing. Don't take legal advice from a cartographer. Yeah, don't do it, because I am probably wrong about half of the things.
I'm a librarian, and I can vouch for all of them.
Okay. All right, good. So I'm just going to then scroll through a few examples. Here's the Mid-Atlantic States, Goucher map, 1956. Here's the original, and here is the one with sea level rise. San Francisco, the Bay Area, original, and sea level rise. Hawaii. Los Angeles. I just did this one like a few weeks ago. Another part of Los Angeles. New York City. And then just a variety of others here. Mexico, this is Boston, California, South America, and do I have one more? Nope, that's it. All right, any questions? Yes?
Why you were doing your literature review about how much will be the sea level rise in case all the ice melts and is deposited into the oceans? Did you run into any research and studies of how this move from the continental crust, all this ice going into the ocean, over the oceanic crust, how and why the continental crust becomes light, how this change could affect the continental crust and force it to rise because it's becoming lighter?
No, so the question was, did I look at how and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, how the weight of the ice on top of, say, Antarctica or Greenland, and there's a word for this, where the ice melts, the isostatic, yes, thank you. So the continents rising because of that, no. I didn't look at that at all. It's possible that the IPCC numbers take that into account, but I don't know. Also, the 66 meters, general, it's just very general. This sort of thing varies by region and bay by bay, cove by cove. So it's just a very general number to work with. Yes?
Are you selling these as posters or folded maps? And my follow-up is, are you planting them in gas stations?
I should. That's a good idea. I should do that. I left a couple at the Map Exchange, and I hope a couple of you people got them. And I am selling them online. That was one of the issues I discussed with the IP attorney. And you can go here, and you can find them there. And a bunch more maps. So yeah. Yes?
Could you very briefly speak to your methodology here, like how you went from a paper map and then got all the data and transformed it?
So my methodology, how I went from a paper map and put all of this on top. Well, so far, all I've worked with are maps that have already been digitized by someone else. So I got all of these from David Rumsey Maps, and so I didn't have to digitize them myself. And I just made sure they were properly georeferenced and then drew on top of them. But I have a bunch. I'm getting like a collection of these, and I know nothing about large-scale scanning. So if any of you have information, ideas about that, please let me know.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you.